Hi everyone, it's Kendall here, and it's time for everyone's favorite story time. So today we're going back to the beauty of Korean club story times. I took a little break from those because, I don't know, I wasn't really trying to turn my channel into a story time channel. Also, like, I didn't want to bombard you guys with a bunch of stories and then like be one of those people that have to start making up stories just to keep stories going. Like, I'm not that type of person, so you get stories as they happen or as I remember them. So today's story time actually took place while I was in Korea this last time. Actually, a lot of my story times did, because I was feeling more like this is my second time in Korea. I'm gonna go out and experience more things. I was there with a bunch of friends, so I felt, you know, more comfortable going out in groups and yada yada yada. We go out, we're in MB2 for a pretty long time. Like, we stayed until like 6 a.m. ish. We were gonna leave earlier, but what happened was, like, people, you know, started to leave because it was getting later in the night. The club closes at 8 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. So people were starting to leave, but they got a good DJ right before the place closed. So we're like, we should just, like, there's less people, there's fewer creepers. The people here just really want to hear this dope DJ, right? Listening to some of my favorites, and, you know, we were in the crowd, and, you know, I'm a 6 foot tall black woman rapping in Korean, so, you know, that garners some looks. And we were just chilling out. There was this one dude that just was like looking at our crowd, and he was like, oh my god, they're so cool, blah blah blah. And we were just like rapping. He wasn't filling up, nothing. And he was just a really cool dude. And I was like, finally, I'm meeting like friendly people in a club, right? I'll be damned. 3 Korean dudes come up, right? They don't know the dude that we're dancing with, but they like take us away from him because he was like a nice enough guy. They progressed in height. There was like a real little one, a middle height one, and a super tall one. They kind of look like Ed and Eddy because the little one was the leader of the pack. Then there was this tall, silent, creepy one, and then there was like the middle-sized dude that was kind of just chill. He didn't really want to come out, but his friends dragged him. They all come over, but the short one is like speaking the entire time, like he's speaking for the pack or whatever. He was like, yeah, we came out, like, what's your name, and blah blah blah. And you know, we speak Korean, so he was like, whoa, can we buy you a drink? Your girl's not stupid. Like I'm aware that you like was hoping that you could get to know us. We're worth getting to know. Still can't. Damn it. So I was like thinking that this drink would be had in the club. And before I know it, we're walking out of the club, and I was like, okay. The creepy one, the tall creepy one, was really into my one friend. So he started like wanting to spark up conversation with her. She had like a light pink bag. It was a really nice, it's a really cute bag, girl. And he was like, oh, that's a nice bag there. Like, is that beige? Thinking in the back of my mind, I was like, smooth. Dude, it's pink. Get over yourself. Anyway, he's trying to chat up my friend, and my friend is of course not with it at all. But me, naturally, I'm walking with the shortest kid because of course I attract the short ones, man. I don't know if they see me as a come up, like, genetically, but of course the shortest one wants to walk with me. But he's feeling exceptionally inadequate because we're like a good 6-inch difference. He was short as hell. To fix this, he came with a hoverboard. He came with a hoverboard, and he proceeded to get on said hoverboard, have his arm out like this, and he says, come on, like we're gonna walk like this. We're just walking, and I'm just thinking like, wow, I look like a dumbass. Not even him, I look like a dumbass. I'm very aware of this situation, but after a while we keep walking, and I'm like, where are we going? But we end up going to this really close by restaurant. It's like a pojamatcha thing. Pojamatchas are just not good for me. Nothing good ever happens in a pojamatcha. But anyway, we go into a pojamatcha, and the little one like says, oh, like you referring to me, Kendall, you sit across from me. Like, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. Also, we were in daylight, and I noticed they weren't as attractive as they were in the club. So that was kind of annoying. So now I had to look at them all the time. It was little one, tall one, a friend of mine, and then on this side was me, another friend of mine, and the normal one. Okay, so we're sitting there, and the little one starts ordering food, just a lot of food. And I was like, oh, okay, I assume you paying, because I'm not. He was telling us all about his life, like very excitedly. He was just like, oh yeah, so like I'm a dancer. And then he started like dancing, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, yeah. He was like, oh yeah, and I also draw webtoons. Slowly but surely, the conversation between me and him like died, and he ended up talking to another friend of mine at the table. And she's ethnically Korean, so they were just like talking about being ethnically Korean, I guess. And me and my friend on this side ended up talking to the normal guy. He was so chill. He was just like, yeah, you know, I'm a chef, like, and we noticed that he had his finger got cut. And we were like, oh, was that why you were cooking and stuff? He was like, yeah, I was trying to flambe. Didn't work too well. Like, he was just really chill or whatever. And we were like, oh, do you guys come out like together a lot? Like, how long have you guys been friends? And he was like, we've been friends for like 20 years. Like, yeah, I've known these kids for 20 years. Actually, this is my first time coming out to a club. I don't come out to clubs. I don't like clubs. And I was like, oh, really? And we were just talking to this kid, and he just seemed really, really nice. So in the middle of talking to this kid, the little one starts just butting into our conversation. He's like, oh yeah, this dude right here, he used to be an MMA fighter. And I was like, what? And before he could answer, the little one says again, yeah, so if you're ever in trouble, he could like totally save you. He could help you. And I'm like, oh, that's like, oh, 멋있네. But yeah, we're chatting. And the next thing we know, we turn around and the little one is crying. His eyes are watering. And we looked to the friend that he was talking to, like our friend that he was talking to, and we were like, what happened? He was like, he was just talking about like how much he loves the country and how patriotic he is. And me and my friends started laughing, not because we're like joking about your patriotism, like you have every right to be a patriot, you know, do that. We were confused because we didn't know where this conversation came from. So we started laughing really uncomfortably. We were like, okay. And then he was like, you just don't understand because you're not Korean. And I was like, I agree, that's probably true, but that wasn't what I was laughing at. I'm still laughing at the fact that I don't know how this conversation came up. And then he started going on and on about his time in 군대, in the military, and like how that was so like powerful for him. And I was like, oh well, yeah, I mean, you know, you're what is that? You're supporting your country and yada yada. That's admirable and whatnot. Again, I don't really know how this conversation came up, but okay. And then eventually we just end up talking to this guy over here again, talking about like little stuff, blah blah blah. And after the patriotic thing, the guy on our side, he was like, I don't really know about patriotism or whatever. I just eat, work, and sleep, and that's pretty much it. 나 그냥 살고 일하고 먹고 자. Like that was just the way he talked, and I don't know why, it was just so funny to me. Some more talking, we turn back again, and he's crying again, and he's like holding my friend's hand, like looking deep into her eyes, and I'm like, girl, what's going on? And she tells us in English, she's like, yeah, he just told me something real personal, and I'm a little uncomfortable because we could speak Korean and English, but they didn't even know any English, like even less than a lot of Korean, like most Koreans know like very basic. They didn't know anything. So that was kind of safe for us to speak in English when we felt really uncomfortable. I was like, what did he tell you? She was like, he just told me that his mom committed suicide a year and a half ago, and how like I remind him kind of his mom, like my aura, like I seem like a nice girl and I remind him of his mom, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Again, I'm not laughing that your mom committed suicide. That's a very, very sad and traumatic event. I'm laughing uncomfortably because again, I've known you for all of 1 hour. We've known you for 1 hour. I'm just like, whoa, I walked in and I didn't know what was going on. And we like look over to the friend over here and he's like, yeah, it's true. I don't really know why he's telling y'all that though right now. Sorry. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like he's in an emotional place, you know? Like, I mean, he's drunk. Very drunk. Maybe that's just why that's happening. I ain't gonna lie to you and say I'm not uncomfortable though. Like I felt very uncomfortable. But again, we keep talking to the kid over here, right? And we just keep missing these really important parts of conversation over here because we're so uncomfortable. And it wasn't a good idea. We should not have ignored him because he was just saying all kinds of crazy stuff. In the middle of talking, we hear the word "motel," like over here. And we both turn around and we're like, what? And the next thing I know, my friend across from us is pissed. She's like fuming. I've never seen her that angry ever. To this day, I've never seen her that angry. But we didn't hear anything in between. So we're like, what's going on? What is going on? She was like, come on, we're getting out of here. He starts like yelling. He was like, oh, you took advantage of me. I told you my deepest, darkest like thoughts, and I thought that we were becoming friends, and blah blah blah. He was like, I told you about my mother. I told you about my struggles. And we're sitting here like, what is going on? We find out later, but at this time we're still completely confused. We find out later from my friend that he had been talking to her because she was gonna leave. She had to go to like see parents and stuff in Korea. So she was gonna like she was thinking about leaving, but she was gonna try to keep us, like, for us to all stay as a group if at all possible. And she told him that, and he was like, oh, just go. I wanted to take your friends to a noraebang. The problem with that is like right around, like a little bit before this happened, there had been like a murder or like a sexual assault or something in a noraebang in like a similar situation, and she didn't feel comfortable with that. So she was like, yeah, no, you're not taking them anywhere. He was like, I mean, it's cool. Like, I just wanted to. This is what he says. This is what he says directly to my friend's face. He's like, well, I just wanted to, like, you know, like get drunk, like go to a motel, like have a threesome. I wanted to show your friends porn if they were down with that. And she was just like, okay, we're leaving, girl, come on, let's go. And I'm like, I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear any of it because we were over here talking to this dude. But I also didn't know what was going on in the middle. So like the little one is like looking at me. He was like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know what I don't know you. So I know my friend, so I'm going with my friend. I was like, yeah, we're gonna go. Okay, goodbye. And he was like, oh, well, you're not leaving without paying. All you wanted me for was for my money. And I was like, you asked us out. What are you talking about? We don't know you. We didn't know you. You wanted to know us. I'm still sitting there confused, like, I don't know, but I trust my friend, so I'm gonna leave with her. And they were like, oh no, you're not leaving without paying. During this whole like argument, like the normal dude had gotten up and paid for his part, and I thought he just left. And I was like, wow, that's kind of shitty. But he came back and he grabbed my friend that was like really mad by the arm, and I was like, what you doing, bro? What you doing? He was like, just take your friends and leave. Just take your friends and leave. And she was like, he was like, just go. I'll handle everything here, right? So like we're getting ready to go, and the normal guy was about to pay for was gonna pay for our share of it because like he felt bad. So as he's at the register, little dude comes up to him, pushes him against the wall. I'm trying to think of like the best like English equivalent, like, oh, you bitch. Like, why are you doing this, you little punk, blah blah blah. Like, they the ones that was like messing us over, yada 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 yada. And normal dude is like, yo, back up off me. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, didn't you just say like an hour ago that this kid was an MMA fighter? Like, I don't think that's a good idea. I kid you not. He rocked this dude with one move. And it wasn't even a punch. He took the forearm and just right in the middle of the Adam's apple, and that dude just popped back like, oh my god. Like, I'm not gonna lie though, if Normie wanted my number that day, he could have gotten it, because that like, he wasn't fine, but he was a nice enough dude. So like he would have gotten them digits. Like, I shimkung. And they like leave. Takes him and his hoverboard, and all three of them walk out, right? We like looked to the manager of the restaurant, and we felt so bad, and we were like, oh my god, we're so sorry. We're a bunch of again in the middle of the restaurant causing trouble. He was like, nah, it's pretty fine. Owner was like, are you guys like okay to go back home? because they had walked out and went to the left and was walking down a long road, and that was the opposite direction of where we were going. We were going towards the bus stop or the train stop, and so we had to like gun it. We had to run for the thing because we look out the door and they were still at the left. They were like 3 yards away from the restaurant arguing. You can see he was like, what the F is wrong with you? We've been friends for all this time and blah blah blah. Like, that's about as much as I heard. And we just gunned it. Less than a day after this, we look up short dude's name on Facebook and we find it immediately. He uses way too much baby filter, but I'm not gonna talk about that. The thing is, he got so drunk that he told us everything. He told us so much of the truth. And we saw pictures of the weird tall one, and he was no longer friends with Normie. We find out later, like, he had ended up deleting pictures of him and Normie. Yeah, and we kind of ruined their 20-year friendship in 2 hours flat. So, new record. It was kind of sad actually when you think about it, because it was obvious that he wanted to come out to get some booty, right? And I knew I wouldn't give him no booty, but I would give you a friendly conversation and some interesting things to talk about. And so I think because of that, he was so overwhelmed with this sudden ability to talk about his feelings. I don't know if he had been very repressed recently, but we made the mistake of giving him that opportunity to talk, and he ran with it. So it's really sad actually when you think about it. But yeah, I ain't passing out booty, but I can give you a smile and a conversation. Anyway, that is all for today. If you would like to hear more story times, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.